Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Before we dive in, I want you to pause for a second and imagine something with me. Picture standing in a massive concert hall. The lights are dim, thousands of people are waiting, the orchestra is ready, and the air feels electric with anticipation. Suddenly, one voice fills the room, powerful, emotional, unmistakable. That voice belongs to someone whose journey has only just begun in many ways. Today, we're talking about something fascinating, what the next decade could look like for Piero Barone. Not just the singer you already know and love, but the artist, the dreamer, and the man with ambitions that might reshape his entire legacy. If you've been following Piero for a while, you already know he's not someone who does things halfway. From the very first time audiences heard that rich, dramatic voice, it was clear he wasn't simply trying to sing well. He was trying to leave a mark. And that's exactly what makes thinking about the next 10 years so exciting. Because if the last decade was about proving himself, the next one could be about defining his place in music history. But here's a question for you right at the start. When you think about Piero 10 years from now, what do you imagine? Do you see him standing on the biggest opera stages in the world, recording groundbreaking albums, collaborating with artists nobody ever expected, or maybe doing something completely surprising that none of us see coming? Think about that as we explore where his ambitions might take him. One of the biggest clues about Piero's future lies in something fans have noticed for years: his constant hunger to grow vocally. Even when he performs songs he has sung hundreds of times before, he approaches them like a student of music rather than someone who has already made it. That mindset tells us a lot. Artists who stop growing eventually fade, but artists who keep pushing themselves often enter their most powerful era later in life. The next decade could be the period where Piero transforms from a brilliant crossover singer into something even bigger: a global vocal authority. Imagine him refining his technique even further, exploring deeper operatic repertoire, and challenging himself with music that stretches his range emotionally and technically. And here's something interesting. Many great vocalists actually reach their most powerful years in their late 30s and 40s. Voices mature, expression deepens, confidence grows. If that's the case, the next 10 years could align perfectly with Piero's natural vocal evolution. Now imagine this moment: a packed opera house somewhere in Europe. The orchestra begins to play. The audience whispers excitedly because tonight's performance marks something historic. Piero isn't just visiting the opera world anymore. He's fully stepping into it. Would you want to see him take on major opera roles someday? Or do you prefer when he stays in the classical crossover style that made him famous? That balance between tradition and accessibility might become one of his biggest ambitions. Piero has always respected the traditions of classical music, but he also understands something important. Music has to reach people emotionally. The next decade might be about bridging those two worlds even more boldly. Imagine albums where opera, film scores, and modern songwriting collide in unexpected ways. Imagine him taking a classic aria and reinterpreting it so a new generation falls in love with it. That kind of artistic risk could define the next phase of his career. But music isn't the only place where his ambitions might grow. Have you ever noticed how comfortable Piero seems on stage beyond just singing? The way he talks to audiences, the way he tells stories between songs, the way he commands attention even in silence. Those qualities hint at something bigger: the possibility of becoming a creative leader. The next decade could see Piero stepping into roles behind the scenes as well, producing albums, mentoring younger singers, maybe even creating musical projects that combine storytelling, theater, and live performance. Think about artists who evolve beyond being performers. Some become cultural figures who shape the direction of music itself. Piero has the personality and passion to move in that direction. Another fascinating possibility is collaboration. Over the next 10 years, the musical landscape will keep changing. New genres will emerge, unexpected partnerships will happen. And imagine the possibilities if Piero begins collaborating with artists from completely different worlds. Picture a powerful duet with a modern pop vocalist, or a cinematic performance alongside a film composer creating epic soundtracks. Maybe even a collaboration with international artists that introduces his voice to audiences who have never heard classical crossover before. The beauty of Piero's voice is that it carries emotion across language barriers. Whether the song is in Italian, English, Spanish, or something else entirely, people feel it. That universal quality could open doors to collaborations that expand his reach globally. But ambition isn't only about career achievements. Sometimes it's about personal meaning. Over the next decade, Piero may become even more focused on using music to tell stories that matter. Songs about heritage, songs about love, loss, and identity. Music that connects generations. Think about the emotional power of a performance where every note feels like a piece of the singer's life. That depth is something audiences crave, and artists often grow into it over time. Let me ask you something. Do you think the best years of an artist's career always happen at the beginning? Or do you believe the most meaningful music often comes later, after life has shaped the artist's perspective? Many fans believe Piero's future albums could be the most personal of his entire career. Imagine music inspired by his roots, his experiences traveling the world, and the lessons he has learned along the way. There's also another side of ambition that often goes unnoticed, the desire to inspire others. Over the next 10 years, Piero might become a role model for young singers who dream of entering classical or crossover music. Think about the impact he could have by supporting music education, encouraging young vocalists, or creating opportunities for rising talent. Imagine a young singer somewhere in the world hearing Piero for the first time and realizing that classical music can still feel modern and exciting. That kind of inspiration can change lives. And speaking of changing lives, think about the emotional connection between Piero and his fans. Concerts are more than performances. They're shared experiences. Thousands of people feeling the same emotion at the same moment. The next decade might bring even bigger tours, new countries, and audiences who are discovering his voice for the first time. But it could also bring something deeper. Performances designed to create unforgettable experiences rather than just concerts. Maybe orchestral shows in historic venues. Maybe special performances celebrating musical history. Maybe even unique events that combine storytelling, visuals, and live music in ways audiences have never seen before. Now let's pause for a second and imagine something together. It's 10 years from now. You're scrolling through your music app and a new album appears. The cover shows Piero looking confident, experienced, and completely in control of his artistry. You press play, the first note begins. What do you hope that album sounds like? Do you imagine powerful operatic moments, emotional ballads, bold experiments with new styles, or maybe something completely unexpected? That's the fascinating thing about ambition. It's not just about reaching goals, it's about exploring possibilities. The next decade will likely bring challenges as well. Every artist faces moments of doubt, moments when expectations are high and the pressure feels intense. But those challenges often shape the most memorable careers. Great artists don't simply succeed, they evolve. And evolution requires courage. The courage to try something new, to risk criticism, to step outside comfort zones. If Piero continues following his curiosity and passion, the next 10 years could redefine what audiences expect from him. Not just a powerful voice, but a complete artistic identity that keeps growing. So now I want to turn the spotlight to you for a moment. You've watched his journey so far. You've heard the performances that gave you chills. You've seen the passion he brings to every stage. Where do you think Piero's ambitions will lead him in the next decade? Will he become one of the defining classical crossover voices of his generation? Will he surprise everyone with bold artistic choices? Or will he take his music somewhere none of us expect? I'd really love to hear your thoughts because this community always has amazing insights. So here's your question for today. If you could choose one dream achievement for Piero in the next 10 years, what would it be? Would it be a historic opera debut? A groundbreaking album? A global tour that reaches millions of new listeners? Drop your answer in the comments and let's start a conversation about it. And if you enjoy exploring stories, ambitions, and behind-the-scenes journeys of incredible artists like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our growing community. Your support helps us keep bringing you more deep dives, discussions, and fascinating stories from the world of music. So go ahead, subscribe, leave your comment, and tell me your vision for Piero's future. The next decade is going to be an incredible journey, and it'll be exciting to watch it unfold together.